Are you an artist trying to figure out how much to charge for your paint party events and you're afraid to price yourself too high or possibly even too low? Well, then this video is for you. Hi everybody, this is JJ Long from JJArtworks and welcome to our YouTube channel where we help artists build profitable paint party businesses. That's something we're very passionate about here. And we're just gonna jump right into the answer today because you're probably wondering how much should you charge for your paint parties? And the question actually comes from Teresa Nixumalo. Teresa, my deepest apologies if I'm screwing up your last name, but thank you so much for bringing up this question. We truly appreciate it. It's something that I struggled with in the early days of building my paint party business. So your question stems around, how much should I price my events at because I want my tribe and my village to come out to my events. So I'm assuming you're doing a public event, maybe at a bar or restaurant, and you're concerned about having your friends and family and supporters coming out to a public event. When it comes to public events, pricing's a little tricky because the bar or the restaurant, they're looking to make a profit from the event as well. And the way they make money is from drink sales and food sales. And you're trying to profit from your paint party class just for people joining in on the paint party. So pricing for public events are a little bit more different because say you normally charge $35, $40 a person. I'm just throwing out a random number here, but like maybe $35, $40 per person for your paint party. And so people out of the gates are already paying that much money to support you. And then they're probably going to spend anywhere between $20 to $40, possibly $50 for on drinks and food. So that brings the overall price to like maybe almost $100 per person to come out and support you at your event. That might sound like a lot for someone to spend like $90, $100 to come out and teach a paint party, or sorry, to join in on a paint party or a paint class, and then also to support the bar and the restaurant. So totally understand that. This is what I recommend. I always recommend private events over public events, but if you're just starting off with public events, it's a great way to kind of get your feet wet and everything. So I don't want to discourage you from doing that. But as far as your pricing goes, what I would do is I would recommend that you do a Google search and you figure out what your competitors are charging for their events, specifically for public events at bars and restaurants. I'm sure they'll have that pricing on their website. And I would try to get between 3 to 5 price ranges from 3 to 5 different paint party companies, and that'll sort of give you a baseline for what you should charge. Because the last thing I want you to do is I don't want you to price yourself too low from your competitors, because then people will look at your service as maybe a shoddy service or something that's not valued as highly. I don't want you to devalue yourself right out of the gates. So like I said, do a Google search, look at your competitors, see what they're charging, and right out of the gates, you can charge a good price point because obviously, customers are already paying market value for, what these other paint party companies are charging. So start with that pricing, and then you can nudge things up and down as you sort of get advice or as you start to get feedback from your guests. So what I usually do when I teach a public paint party or even private events too, feedback from your customers is the best feedback you can get. So while you're there, you can ask a show of hands, who's having a fun time today? And you can really gain a lot of insight from your paint parties just by asking questions. You can take customers aside privately and say, hey, so how did you enjoy the event today? What was the pricing? Something that did you feel like you spent too much money or it wasn't worth the value or whatever? And have intimate conversations. Don't be afraid to have intimate conversations with customers at your events. And I think just doing that little bit of research in the beginning, that will give you a strong foundation for how to price yourself moving forward. I always err on the, not the caution, how do I want to say this? I always recommend that you start off doing what the marketplace is demanding right? By doing your research, doing your market research. And then I would argue that you should nudge your prices up a little bit higher. So you're perceived as a more reputable company, as a more premier service. That's what we do here at JJArtworks. And actually, I'm actually in the process right now of nudging up my rates a little bit, because if you're new here on my channel, I literally just moved from the Boston area, Massachusetts, all the way to the LA area in California. So I jumped from the East Coast to the West Coast. And I'm realizing, because I've done my own product research with the marketplace, a lot of these other paint and sip companies, they're charging more than what people were charging on the East Coast. So I'm actually in the process of nudging up my prices as well on my website and when I promote to my email newsletter blast and things like that. So do your research. Don't be afraid to talk to people about money. Ask questions, get feedback, and that is my advice for you. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you again, Teresa, for the awesome question. Again, if this is your first time here, welcome. And if you have any questions about the paint party industry, please feel free to leave a comment below or directly inbox me on Instagram. Also, I'm just starting to add descriptions in the description area, all of the supplies that we use at our paint parties. So if you have any questions about, what kind of easels do we use, what kind of paints we use, what kind of brushes we use, everything is in the description below, so make sure to check that out. And then also, if you feel like you want some more intimate guidance and coaching, I am offering one-on-one coaching. Just click on the link below and you'll be taken to our website and we can kind of connect there. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to talking to you all in another video. Have a good one. Bye-bye.